You know, for the past couple of years, it's been difficult to say exactly how popular Godzilla is, in any sense of the word. People will point to the success of Godzilla 2014 and Shin Godzilla and say, look, Godzilla's one of the biggest titles out there. Look at how much money these movies are making. Then they'll look at the anime trilogy's failure and the underperformance of King of the Monsters, which you may recall I said that neither Warner Brothers, Legendary, nor Toho consider that a failure anyway. But they'll point to those and they'll say, well, Godzilla's not really that popular. It falls short of all these other things that are way more popular than Godzilla. All I can really determine, ultimately, is that nobody has a clue. But apparently Toho thinks that Godzilla has enough of an audience worldwide that they're gonna make a push to make it even bigger. Hence, Godzilla Genesis. Now, why are they calling it Godzilla Genesis? Heck if I know. We're 65 years into this franchise, so we're pretty far removed from the beginning. But whatever the reason for the naming is, the fact is, it's happening. This is Toho's really big push towards making Godzilla as global as can be. And according to Gomaru Island, who broke this story, that's going to vary from region to region. Meaning what they focus on while promoting Godzilla is going to depend on what nation and what version of Godzilla is popular therein. For example, the Legendary movies are really big in China. So they're probably going to be pushing that version of Godzilla in the Chinese market. The classic version of Godzilla from the Showa period is more popular here in America. So that's going to be their focus, and I'm sure the Criterion Blu-ray collection is going to be part of that as well. This is going to be accompanied not just with promoting the movies, but with all sorts of merchandising and all sorts of new material. Stuff like a watch pattern to look like the Shin Godzilla skin texture, or apparently animated clips were shown at a panel where this was announced. But no one seems to know at this point what those animated clips are really for. Whether they're for a new movie, a new series, or what it'll be about. No one's quite sure. All we know is that there were animated clips. For all we know at this point, the animated clips were made specifically for that panel to promote Godzilla Genesis, and they'll never be used for anything else. It's all up in the air at this point. Whatever the case, Toho is really pushing this. And why not? Godzilla so far has proven to be quite successful over the years. It can even provide a good rivalry for the superhero movies that are out these days. And considering the legacy behind it, well, I certainly think they've got a good chance at really making this work. Of course, we don't know for certain it's going to work. Do you remember the push by Super Raya Studios to make Ultraman internationally popular a few years ago? Of course you don't. Nobody does, because that didn't really go anywhere. At least not the way they'd hoped it would. Of course, maybe they could try again if this Godzilla stuff takes off, but even so, it's not a guarantee just yet. Let's be clear, Godzilla Genesis is a risk. Everything they're doing here could potentially flop pretty hard. But as the old saying goes, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So maybe it'll pay off. Who knows? Originally, that was going to be the only bit of news I'd report on, but apparently there's been a little bit of an update from Alexander Skarsgard about Godzilla vs. Kong, specifically the nature of his character. As Skarsgard describes it, his character is someone who works closely with Kong, whatever that means, and he's not exactly cut out to be a hero and takes part in this adventure only reluctantly. So he's playing someone who doesn't want to go on an adventure who also happens to have a close relationship with apes. Boy, does that sound familiar for Alexander Skarsgard. Joking aside, I'm sure this isn't just going to be a rehash of Legend of Tarzan. I certainly hope not, because good lord, Legend of Tarzan was bad. But even so, it's kind of an odd coincidence. Then again, this is such a vague description that it could potentially mean anything. Again, it's only revealing just the tiniest sliver of information, and in the end, it doesn't really tell us that much at all. I mean, think about it. Someone who's not really cut out to be a hero and who joins the adventure reluctantly? That also kind of describes Mark Russell as played by Kyle Chandler in King of the Monsters. But I don't think it's just going to be a rehash of that either. Barring the lack of evidence, it could be a rehash, but it could be completely different. Again, it's so vague we really don't know anything. But whatever the case, it is just a little bit more Godzilla vs. Kong news that's come into the woodwork. But of course, the bigger news is Godzilla Genesis. Toho is really pushing forward with making Godzilla the household name he used to be, and making that household name something different from campy Japanese rubber suit movies. I really do hope it works, because I would love for Godzilla to be seen by the rest of the populace the way that fans see him. But we will see what happens. Until such time as we meet again, this is the Omni Viewer signing off. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it as well as subscribe to the channel for more content of a similar nature. Also, check the description for links to our Twitter, DeviantArt, and Patreon pages, as well as the Amazon link for the novel Operation Red Dragon: The Daikaiju Wars Part 1, penned by yours truly. Thank you all, and we appreciate your support.